It is Medic Lounge here on High Impact Television, and today's topic of discussion is one that is of global safety because as it stands, it is one of the public health concerns, antibiotic resistance. In the studio with us, we have pharmacist Ademola Mayowa.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today.
Good morning to you, Loashan.
So, straight into the topic, what is antibiotics resistance, first of all? Because generally, I could define it as a resistance of the antibiotics that used to work before, but is there more to it?
Yeah, simply put, you are very correct with that. That's what antibiotic resistance simply means. Before you could declare an organism to be resistant, a bacteria to be resistant, then it must have been that from the state of sensitivity, it has gone into a state of insensitivity. That is, the particular antibiotics that used to destroy this bacteria no longer works. Naturally, bacteria are adaptable. When you use your antibiotics, there are times when they change their structure. There are times when they change the pump that these antibiotics get into the cells itself. They change it. There are times when they even destroy the pump themselves so that the antibiotics do not get access into them. So that factor is there.
So what are the things that we do on our own part that further inflates this number?
Okay, so it's a multinodal factor, I would say. It starts from the government policy to the individual behavior. First, in some developed worlds, they make sure that the use of antibiotics is restricted to the hospitals. Before you can get resistance to an antibiotic, this is what will happen. The organism must have been frequently exposed to that antibiotics at a sub-inhibitory concentration. If you use it any way lesser than the amount that will destroy the bacteria will only find a way to be resistant to it. And I would like to mention a few of the things we're doing that contribute to this resistance. In Nigeria, for example, and other developing countries, you can go into a pharmacy or chemist and buy antibiotics. And there are situations where people buy it and they don't also use it according to prescription.
Yes.
In developed countries, it is very difficult before you can get antibiotics. At least laboratory tests must have been done. The physician must have been sure that this particular antibiotics will work. I will cite a very popular example, which is Ampiclos. People today have formulated their own regimen of using it. Some will tell you, take one daily. Some will tell you, take one in the morning, take one at night. It's never like that. They have to take it every 6 hours and consistently for 5 days. So there are times when people even go to the doctor, they go to the physician, they get this drug, but they don't still comply. And when you don't comply, you don't eradicate the bacteria itself.
So it
entirely.
reinforces.
So you give it the opportunity to develop resistance to it.
What exactly is the implication of antibiotic resistance? I mean, aside the obvious fact that maybe someone's life could be threatened as a result of the antibiotics that used to work before that no longer works, what are the implications of antibiotic resistance?
Very soon, if care is not taken, the resistance that we are experiencing now could precipitate a situation where our available antibiotics will no longer work.
So what do we do then?
That's exactly the point now, and that's the reason why the awareness is going out. Apart from the fact that we may head to the era where these antibiotics may not work, you also have to consider the current health implication. Now, there are some diseases that are very difficult to treat. They increase the hospital stay. Of course, they take our money. By the time you spend longer time in the hospital, you spend more money. There are some that are entirely not treatable, and as a result of that, there is issue of mortality. There are some disease conditions that used to respond to one particular drug, but now we now need to use two. That's also, in a way, increases the side effect of the drug on the system.
Oh, true.
So all of these are the implications. Let me mention one that has been going around for you. The use of broad-spectrum antibiotics, the one they call, example is tetracycline.
Okay.
A lot of people use it today. Immediately they're purging, they reach out for tetracycline, and they use it without prescription. It's a broad-spectrum antibiotics. And now it destroys both the good flora in the GIT, in the stomach, and also the bad ones. And when that happens, it leaves a particular strain of microorganism that we call Clostridium difficile. This is a deadly microbe, not responding to most of the antibiotics available. It only responds to heavy load of metronidazole and probably vancomycin. So if we continue this activity, what I'm saying is that the biological weapon, the arsenal that we have to fight bacteria may be lost entirely.
Is there anything that can be done?
Interestingly, you know, the medical field has also been working to make sure that we don't entirely lose the war.
Okay.
But our major concern is that it's a fight that everyone must be involved in.
Okay, now, what can we do?
Okay, United Nations also suggested a few things that can be done. And I would like to mention some of them. The very first thing is the government policy.
Okay.
In every hospital, there should be a guideline for, one, importation of antibiotics, the distribution, and even the prescription of antibiotics.
Okay.
So government needs to step in and do something about this.
What about the part of the individual?
Yeah, we also need to do our home part, most especially discontinuing the culture of just going to a pharmacy or a drugstore, wheresoever, and indiscriminately purchase a drug. And now, if you're also being prescribed an antibiotics, make sure you comply. A lot of people will say, when you tell them, use it for 7 days, use it for 10 days as prescribed, they will tell you, what is wrong with me? Am I dying or something?
Yes.
And after using it for 2-3 days and they feel better,
that's the end of it.
and that's the end of it. If we continue that way, it's going to destroy the entire thing that we've had. The third thing we need to do is that we do not want to rely on experience. Last year, I have malaria, or last year, I have an infection, and I went to the hospital, they gave me this particular drug. And this time around, I'm having something like that, which I'm not sure.
So, let me just use it.
Then I go to buy this particular one. Before you can use antibiotics, this is the first thing you should do. You have to go to an hospital. They have to conduct an identification test on the microorganism involved. And now they need to conduct what we call sensitivity tests.
Okay.
On the organism, wherein you have like 10 different antibiotics. Which of these has this strain of microbes, bacteria, been resistant to? Which of it is it sensitive to? Now, when you get the one that is sensitive to, that's the exact one you use.
Yes.
But how do you get to know about that if all you do is to just go and buy whatever you like? You are only giving the organism opportunity more to become resistant.
Thank you very much. It's been very informative and educative as well. Antibiotic resistance, what to do, what not to do. Ensure that you comply with your prescription. Don't just go out there to abuse it because it is available. So you just prescribe for yourself or diagnose yourself. Please don't.